Hello, and welcome to our holiday episode of Public Pictures Theater, hosted by the Commonplace Coffee House. Tonight, we'll be watching the 1935 Christmas classic, Scrooge.
Believe it or not, this was the first full-length version of A Christmas Carol with sound.
The silhouette of the ghost of Christmas past is portrayed by actress Marie Ney, but the voice of the ghost of Christmas past was played by an uncredited male actor. It's sort of like a festive Darth Vader situation.
This was not Seymour Hick's first time portraying Scrooge on film. He first portrayed the part in 1901 and again in 1913 in the film Old Scrooge. He continued playing this role throughout his career nearly 1,000 times, often at fundraising benefits. I guess after portraying Scrooge so many times, he decided to do a little giving back of his own.
Well, sit back, relax, and enjoy Public Pictures Theater's 2017 holiday special, Scrooge. Hello, and welcome back to Public Pictures Theater. I'm Dr. Jim Lenze of the Communications Media Department here at IUP, and I'm here with Dr. John Marsden of IUP's English Department, and three of our outstanding students. We've got Jackie Perry and Dawn Winzer and Megan Kimble, and we're here to discuss the 1935 classic Scrooge, based on the Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. This episode is hosted by Commonplace, the coffee house that is nearest to the IUB campus, and I'm sure all of our students are very familiar with them and their award-winning coffees, so we're very grateful to them. So let's get started on our panel discussion. We've all watched this wonderful movie, and how does it compare? This is one of many, many versions of Dickens' A Christmas Carol. So how did you think it stacked up? And we'll start with our expert here, Dr. Marsden.
You know, there have been so many productions of A Christmas Carol. It really seems to register with people. I understand that there was a Muppets version. Is that right,
That's
Megan?
my favorite version.
That's your
It
favorite
really
version?
Is. Michael Caine.
Well, my favorite version is really the 1953 film with Alistair Sim, which I watch every year. But it's the first time I'd seen this one, and I was really impressed with it.
What impressed you most about it?
For 1935, I thought it was really technically adept, and I was surprised that for an old film like that, you know, the sound was good, the cinematography was good, so yeah.
They did some really clever things with the camera, too, with the finger pointing as a ghost.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I thought they really tried to do some interesting things with the camera to tell the story.
That's right, and the shadow instead of the ghost, yeah.
I think I liked most about this version is that the ghosts of the Christmas future, you never really saw them. Like usually in other renditions, it's always, you know, the Grim Reaper. And this time it was just a shadow, and I loved it.
You always see the ghosts, and this one you only see one of the ghosts, other than Marley's face in the doorknob.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't see the ghosts except for Christmas Present. And that was really interesting that it was just a finger. And do you think they did that to save money, or do you think they did that because of the effect?
It works both ways. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, what did you think, Don?
So, in terms of versions of the Christmas Carol, I love the Muppet Christmas Carol, and
I'm just saying, it's wonderful.
I hate to say it, but I really like Bill Murray's Scrooged because I just love Bill Murray. He's so funny, and I think it's a very good modern take, and I love modern takes on traditional stories, and I think it was a bold thing that they did with that. Yeah. In terms of things I liked about this film, I thought it was very interesting, specifically with Marley's ghost, not being able to see him is because he says, Scrooge, you're the only one who can see me, which is interesting because, like, okay, so the audience, we're not Scrooge, we're not Ebenezer, we can't see him. I feel like it was done purely as a technical choice because they couldn't probably figure out how to do the chains and the ghost cheaply, but I think it totally worked until the very last sequence when the window opens and something kind of jumps out. I'm like, oh, darn, killed it. But I loved it up until then.
Wow. Jackie, did you tell us what your favorite version?
My favorite version is Mickey's Christmas Carol because there's no one to play a better Ebenezer Scrooge than Scrooge McDuck.
So we have the 1953
version, yeah.
We've got Mickey's A Christmas Carol. We've got Scrooge, You're Dead to Me.
Yeah,
Megan,
right.
what's your favorite version?
It's got to be the Muppets.
The
I love the
Muppets.
Muppets. I love the singing. It's so good, and it's just so well done, and it just makes me happy every time I watch it. I watch it every Christmas. I love it so much. It just fills me with the Christmas spirit.
What I like about that, and it's my favorite, is Michael Caine plays it straight the entire way through. He never breaks into the Muppet-esque ridiculousness of it all. He just plays Scrooge. And you could take him out of that movie and put him in a serious drama, and he could play the exact same part line for line. And I love that. To me, he grounds the whole film and makes it worthwhile.
This is the Muppets
The
version?
Muppets version of the Christmas Carol.
Very, very well done.
It's a zany Muppet movie as you want to watch, but Michael Caine plays it dead seriously, and it really, to me, works very well. Seymour Hicks's Scrooge was really a profound actor for this role, and it really had an impact on his career. So what modern day actor do you think would be good to play Scrooge? Let's do another version of A Christmas Carol, because we haven't had one for like 3-4 months. So, all right.
right.
So do you want to go first or do you want to go last?
I'll go last.
Gonna go last.
I want
We'll
to hear
start
what
this
everybody
way.
else has said.
I
Megan?
think Sir Ian McKellen.
Who?
Sir Ian McKellen. Guy
Oh,
played-
everybody goes to Ian McKellen.
I just think he'd really do a great Scrooge because I think he has, I think he could play, the beginning of the greedy jerk, and I think he'd be able to work through the movie. And at the end, he's the old guy who you care about, and you're glad that he's redeemed himself. I think he'd just be really good with that.
When Cratchit tries to leave, he could say, "You shall not pass." No, sorry, that was terrible. Go ahead.
I hadn't thought of that. I really like it. I would almost like. I have a warm place in my heart for aging Liam Neeson.
Ooh.
Aging Liam Neeson, and I think if he plays it right and doesn't do the Taken thing, but he actually goes for that emotional pay dirt at the end.
Yeah.
I think he can play a callous person in the beginning, and
Wow.
he's got that great voice, the kind of gravelly Scottish derivative UK voice. I love it. I think he can do it.
Okay. Jackie?
I've struggled with this. I don't really know, but I think Megan really hit the nail on the head with Ian McKellen. That's it. That's the moneymaker.
That's the moneymaker.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with an American.
Hope you can do an accent. Go ahead.
Yes, I was thinking about this question, and I started thinking Scrooge is a dark character at the beginning, and so I came up with Christopher Walken.
Oh, my.
Oh,
Christopher
goodness.
Walken.
Yeah,
A New Jersey Scrooge.
that's right.
I would love that.
A New Jersey Scrooge. Wow. That would be a really interesting take.
Yeah.
So mine, there are only 2 or 3 versions of A Christmas Carol where the same actor plays young Scrooge and old Scrooge. So I like the idea of casting a younger actor to play Scrooge and then aging him for the part, and sort of an Ian McKellen kind of a choice. I would go with Tom Hiddleston. I think Tom Hiddleston could really pull off a young, dashing Scrooge and a bitter old Scrooge, and I know he could do the gleeful part at the end. And
Has he been in anything I might know?
he's Loki in the Thor movies.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
So
that in that case.
he's in a lot of other things, but that's
Okay.
my choice. So, what do you think is the major turning point for Scrooge? This is kind of an interesting question. It's sort of which ghost actually turns him around. Because in many versions it feels like it might be the ghost of Christmas Present, and yet they still make him go through the future. So where do you think is the point where he actually turns? And since we went with Megan last time first, we'll start with our expert, Dr. Marsden.
Well, this is a tough question because his change seems to be affected by the visit from the 3 ghosts. But I'm going to say Christmas Past because that's when he starts to recognize his folly. And so I'd go with Christmas Past and that visit from Christmas Past. Yeah, although there are a number of turning points, of course.
Yeah. Jackie?
I would say in Christmas Present, when he sees Tiny Tim, because I think it starts there when he first meets Tiny Tim, and you kind of get this sense that you know, he has some feelings. Like Scrooge actually has some feelings. And then in the third ghost, whenever he finds out that Tiny Tim dies, you know, that's really what just is like, I gotta turn my life around, you know. So I think it was a mix of those two right there. I think Tiny Tim was really what pulled Scrooge out of his dark place.
All right.
I really liked Ghost of Christmas Past. I thought that moment where he sees his lost love married to someone else with all the children, and her husband muses like, oh, I saw him sitting in the window alone. And they're just surrounded by kids, and then just think about that for a second. And then it keeps going. I think at that point he's still rejecting it. He's like, no, I don't want to see this, leave me. And then towards present, then I think that's the turning point, definitely. At present, and then Christmas is to come. I think that's like nail in the coffin, no pun intended. But yeah, I think definitely Christmas present has it for me.
I have to agree with the present because I think the past kind of kicks him off into, you know, thinking, you know, maybe I'm not the best person. But I think in Christmas present, that's when he starts to care about other people. Because, you know, in Christmas past, he's just like, oh, wow, you know, my life kind of sucks. And, you know, now I'm here, so, you know, that's not great. But I think in the Christmas present, that's when he starts to see, you know, Cratchit and like Tiny Tim and stuff, and he starts to care about other people. And then once he gets into the future, that's when he's like, if I don't change my life, this could happen, and I don't want that to happen because I've grown attached to Tiny Tim. So I think the Christmas present is when he actually starts to turn around.
I think I'll go with the one I think Dickens went with, which is the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Yeah.
I think up until that point, it's an emotional response, but the die is really cast when he sees his name on the gravestone. And he realizes, I'm this man, and this is my last chance to change things. Now, this is the part of the show where I like to break away from the script and throw the director into a tizzy. And so what I'm going to do is throw a question out that none of us had already considered. And that is, we're going to recast A Christmas Carol. And you have been chosen to play one of the three ghosts. Which ghost do you want to play in the movie? So which ghost would you want to be, Dr. Marsden?
I agree with what you were saying earlier about Christmas Future. In
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
ways. And I would want to play Christmas Future because I think one of my favorite scenes in the film is when Scrooge is confronted with his own gravestone. And I think, I like that as a turning point too. So I'm going to go with Christmas Future.
Not a lot of lines either.
No, that's right. And that's good for me.
Jackie, which ghost would you like to be?
The Ghost of Christmas Present's always been my favorite because he's in this big room, he's got all these lavish, you know, fruits and foods all around him, and he's just having a good time, so that would definitely be mine.
Don?
I'm torn. I would love to be the Ghost of Christmas Is Yet to Come because the point, I feel like I could do a very good hand model point.
Yeah,
but
creepy finger.
Creepy
Yeah,
finger,
sure.
I think I could pull it off. But I think I identify most with the Ghost of Christmas Present, and specifically there was a recent Jim Carrey animation version of this film. I think it came out in 2013? And at one point, Ghost of Christmas Present's just like, I totally forgot what we were talking about. I'm the ghost of the present. I'm not focused on what went on or what's going on. And I feel like I'm I'm very much in that kind of absent-minded. I just want to live and be in the present. I think that'd be a very interesting way to take it, and yeah, I identify with that.
I'm actually the opposite of you because I love the Ghost of Christmas Present, but I don't think I would want to play him necessarily because he's so fun and jolly and joyful. But I don't know if I personally as an actor be able to pull it off. But I really also love the Ghost of Christmas Future because I'd love to just be in like this dark, outfit and just like pointing seriously, and also you don't have to say anything. So I think that'd be fun.
And it's funny, none of us, and I'll throw myself into this, none of us wants to be the Ghost of Christmas Past.
That's my least favorite.
Absolutely not. I don't want to show a guy that his wife is married to somebody else with a million
It's
kids.
not a fun role.
No.
Well, that's all the time that we have today at Public Pictures Theater, and we want to thank you for joining us for our special Christmas presentation of Scrooge. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel at YouTube at Public Pictures Theater for more public domain films. We hope that you like this film and you share it. Thank you to the Commonplace for hosting this episode, and we wish you very, very happy holidays.